Welcome to Livewire Live, where we don't have to try, it's always a good time. Tonight in the studio we are joined by some of Bournemouth's writing royalty, the brains behind the Bournemouth Writing Festival. We have here in the studio Dominic Wong.
Hello everyone.
John Foster.
Hello.
Brad Gyori.
Hi there.
And Alex Stone.
Hi there.
We're going to be catching up with these guys, talking about the Bournemouth Writing Festival and also their own individual writing projects throughout the course of the next 2 hours. First, though, we're going to go to a nice piece of music. This is Susie Kimber, Intoxicating.
All it takes is a glance my way, and your eyes speak more than we can say. On my mind, it paints this picture, the story of how things could be. Just a sigh as you breathe my name, and you smile. Well, it's more than I can take, and my world, it spins more, thinking how we could be. It's intoxicating, liberating, between you and me. It's intoxicating, inebriating, between you and me.
That was Susie Kimber, Intoxicating. Susie's playing at the Grove tonight, right now, I believe. So if you do want to head on down there and see more of her music, that's the place to be. Here in the studio, we've got the Bournemouth Writing Festival, the brains behind the Bournemouth Writing Festival. So firstly, I want to go over to Dominic Wong, who is the head honcho. You are the man that came up with the idea for the Bournemouth Writing Festival, and I just want to get get an idea of what first inspired you to do that.
It came about from a wanting to showcase our local authors and local writers, because I've written a couple of books myself, and that evolved very quickly into helping other people, other writers, to learn and be inspired to write for themselves. And what is it that local writers or writers and authors, how do they write a book? How do they start? How do they plot? How do they create structure? How do they market their book? How do they get it published? And that's really where it all came from, and it's grown into a 3-day writing festival, which has 100 different free and ticketed writing events happening in Bournemouth Town Centre. But it's not just about the writing festival in April, it's also a romance writing festival, it's also a writing sanctuary, there's a Facebook forum, there's writing groups, there's networking events. The community in this area is huge, and it's one of the kind of unexpected outcomes has been to create a writing community.
Did you always have the conception that that's what you wanted to do, that you wanted it to grow in that way, or is that something that's just happened as you've gone along?
So I've got a marketing background, so rather than opening a bookshop, I wanted to think, right, how do we entice people into that bookshop? So my thought was, well, why don't we try and teach and impart our knowledge and expertise and advice to other people that are wanting to write or in the middle of writing or coming to the end of their novel or whatever book they want to publish. And I thought that was a really good hook, I suppose. And, you know, this area is so creative. We've got 2 amazing universities. We've got a world-class college. We have this amazing kind of creative community that's bubbling under the surface. And this writing festival has really shone a light on all those amazing poets and writers and authors and screenwriters, and kind of brought them all together into one big happy community, really.
Yeah, so you've got the romance festival coming up later in the year. Obviously, we've got the writing festival itself, the big one, at the end of April, and then you've branched off into the romance festival, which I believe is in October, and you've got the writing sanctuary, which you're setting up over the summer. So is it something where you see that there's going to be like more coming down the line, like this is just the first little offshoots?
Well, the idea for the Writing Festival came about 2.5 years ago, less than 2.5 years ago. And so I have no idea what's going to happen this time next year, because this is growing at such a speed. But the Romance Writing Festival is the first one in this area. And romance is the biggest genre of writing in the world. And it's not really served. So we decided to create a specific genre for that. It's going to be the Royal Bath Hotel on the 18th of October. And we have some big romance names coming down. We have Millie Johnson, Paige Toon, and Katie Ford. Some of those, you know, that you might have heard of because they're Sunday Times best-selling authors. And what we wanted to do was not just have a normal kind of writing festival. We wanted to put the Bournemouth stamp on it, and I think the Bournemouth Writing Festival has got a unique brand. We use the beach, we have writing on the beach activities, we have literary walks of Bournemouth, we use the town centre as much as possible, because lots and lots and lots of famous authors came to Bournemouth to be inspired. J.R. Tolkien stayed at the Hotel Miramar, Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Jekyll and Hyde here, Mary Shelley's buried here. I could go on and on and on. So I think Bournemouth is an interesting place. It's an inspiring place, and and it attracts all these creative people, as I mentioned earlier. So, kind of the main Bournemouth Writing Festival in April, it just seemed natural to do a romance writing festival and also the Writing Sanctuary, because, you know, why not come down here for 3 days, 2 nights, and be inspired by the sea?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, brilliant. Of course, Bournemouth originally started as a place for people to come and relax, and, you know, it was originally for people who were quite ill to come and get away from city life for a while. So, yeah.
And Robert Louis Stevenson was very ill, as John will probably explain a bit later on, because he wrote a whole play about him being very ill when he was living in Westbourne, and out of that, I don't know what you'd call it, John, disease or kind of processes going through to become well again, he wrote Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes, it's an exorcism. Yes.
That's your play, The Weevil and the Biscuit, isn't it?
The Weevil and the Biscuit, indeed,
Yeah.
yes. Did you see that?
That's not one of yours that I've seen, no. I would really like to see it, so I hope that you do manage to get it on the stage again.
I've seen it, I loved it. It was really fascinating.
Oh, thank you, yes. Well, he's a very interesting character, Robert Louis Stevenson. But I think one of the great things about the festival and having writers coming together is that writing is a pretty lonely business. You're sitting in a room on your own for 6 or 8 hours a day trying to squeeze words out of yourself, and I think that you don't know if what you're writing is any good, and you're on your own basically. And I think that it's very good to have something like this where writers come together and can share their anxieties and to share ideas and different ways of working. I mean, everyone has to find their own way of working, and I think discussions about work practice and ways of tackling things like writer's block is very, very helpful to writers. Many writers, I used to teach writing at Bournemouth University, and there are so many people that have writer's block and don't know really how to solve it, but there are methods you can discuss, ways of overcoming writer's block, things like that. Lots of different issues that writers face, and it's good to get groups together to discuss these different areas, I think. But apart from also being quite social and having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I actually came on one of your courses at the Bournemouth University way back in 2008. I came to one of your evening classes.
Oh, right. That was that at the AUB?
Yeah.
Yes, the AUB, yeah. Yes.
So that's how.
So you survived.
Yeah. No, and then I got back in contact with you in 2022 when I was doing my first book, and you were really supportive of that. And then I came to Doppelganger Dialogues that you used to do at Obsidian, and that kind of helped me connect with the Bournemouth writing community. So yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I love about the festival is that it's become a hub sort of like that, where people come to the festival and they meet other people and they make contacts and they meet people that are writing in the same genre as them,
yes.
Or have like the same passion for writing as them. And I think that has become a really powerful thing in the local community. Like the connections that it's made between people,
yes.
Has just been really wonderful to see in the last few years.
Yeah. Well, Doppelganger Dialogue, just to explain, was a monthly workshop that we did where writers could come and read their work or see their work performed by actors and then get feedback from the audience. And we've suspended it for a year just to have it's been going over 10 years, so we thought we'd relax it for a year, but we're hopefully going to start it up again this summer or autumn. It's now going to be called The Dialogues. So that will start up again. And again, it's a way of getting writers in together, talking about writing, discussing their various approaches to writing, and having a bit of fun as well. So we hope to pursue that later on in the year.
Great. So going to Brad then, what was it? How did you get involved in the writing festival?
Well, Dominic came along and said that he had this idea for a festival, and I was just meeting him, and the timing was surprisingly fast. That it was about 6 months out from when he was going to put this on, and he said, "Would Bournemouth like to be involved?" And I said, I kind of had a wait and see attitude. I was like, maybe we can kind of do a little bit here and there, but I was like, I just don't know. I don't know how he's going to do this. Surprisingly, he pulled this thing together and actually had a pretty remarkable debut of the festival. And as he was saying, it's only 2.5 years old, so there's only been one other iteration after that, and that really exploded. And his plan, I think, going forward was fewer, bigger, better, and he did the bigger and better, but not the fewer. He wound up, it's like he was saying, about 100 events, about 1,000 writers. It really takes over the town center for about 3 different days. There's about 20 different venues it happens at. There's all kinds of networking that happens. The thing I like about it the most is the ethos, though. It really is a writers' festival because writers like to make things. You know, we don't want to just sit there and have somebody lecture to us about writing. We want to do stuff, and we want to find out how to do stuff. And so that's very oriented around activities and workshops, and also it's curated in such a way that they're inventive and clever sort of angles on things. I went to one last year that was about writing smells, and the person running it, I'm sorry, I can't remember their name, but he brought out these little strips of paper that had different scents on them, and then you were sort of free writing about what these smells meant. But he also gave you some guidance about how you can, bring in other senses, and you don't have to just only stick with the sense that you're describing. So maybe the smell is metallic, maybe it's hard, maybe it bites, these type of things. Mm-hmm. But it's just filled with these type of these things that it's just, for writers, it's a really pleasure to explore.
Cool. And Alex, what was it that drew you to the festival? How did you get involved?
Well, I came down here on a career break, burnt out accountant, looking to just rest, recuperate, finish my book, and I never left. So it was quite hard leaving that writing community that I had established back in the West Midlands and not really knowing anybody down here. So finding Dominic, and he was just setting up the first festival at that point, and it was amazing. I got to be a speaker at a festival for the first time. I've been introduced to this incredible writing community that is just growing all the time, and all these opportunities that come from it. It's the most rewarding experience.
Great. And you've done quite a few of your own books, haven't you?
Yes, yeah.
How many books have you published?
Just published the 4th last month.
The 4th. Wow. And which publisher is that with?
Boldwood Books.
Okay, yeah. So what's the latest one about?
The Quiet Sister. I have it here. This one is about twins Chloe and Mia, and family secrets, and it's this question of how far would you go to have your sister's life? So it's psychological thrillers. They're all psychological thrillers, all set in Dorset, all inspired by my move down here and living by the coast.
Ah, so they're all set in Dorset.
Yeah.
Are any of them set in Bournemouth?
So The Good Patient is set in Southbourne. This one is set around, The Quiet Sister is set around Boscombe Pier.
Oh, cool.
It's actually based around where I actually came down for the career break and the apartments I was renting at and living down by the pier. So yeah, that's where the story that part of it, not the psychological thriller part.
So people are going to recognise some of the locations.
Absolutely.
Hopefully not the psychology. But
Yes, yeah, just the locations. Yeah, I've done Durdle Door and the Other Girlfriend, Anvil Point and The Perfect Daughter. So they're all, spectacular settings. I have so much to choose from for location down here.
Cool. We're going to come back to you guys in a minute to talk more about this year's festival and specifically what things you're looking forward to. Before we do that, we're going to go to a piece of music, which is the Bonsai Pirates Princess Monaco. They are playing at the Old Fire Station this Saturday at 7 o'clock, I believe. And is it the Wurzels they're playing with, Tim? Yeah, the Wurzels. So if you do like this band, head on down to the Old Fire Station this Saturday at 7 o'clock. So here it is, Bonsai Pirates, Princess Monaco.
Livewire Live. Chaplains and the Cellar Bar in Boscombe is currently UK Community Pub of the Year and Best Entertainment Venue in the South West. It's also been named Camera Pub of the Year in Dorset.
Our bistro menu features locally sourced, award-winning seasonal ingredients, freshly prepared to suit any taste or dietary requirement.
And 7 days a week there's original live music in a wide range of genres, along with poetry, theatre and comedy nights.
Friendly and inviting, Chaplains has all the right ingredients for a perfect night out.
Chaplains and the Cellar Bar, Christchurch Road, your award-winning independent bar and live music venue in the heart of Boscombe.
Many men suffering abuse at the hands of their partners think they're to blame, that they're weak. That is not the case. We are here for you. We are the Mankind Initiative, and we have been helping men escape from domestic abuse since 2001. Call us on our helpline 01 823 334244. That is 01 823 334244. The lines are open from 10 till 4, Monday to Friday. Remember, you're not alone.
Showcasing the best in music and the arts in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. This is Livewire Live, sponsored by Chaplins and the Cellar Bar.
To me, you say you are the princess of Monaco. I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco. I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. One day an explorer came to find the land on which you reign. Ever since he chose to stay, things have never been the same. He got down on one knee, said, "Princess, will you marry me? Together we can be the royalty of the sea." You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me.
Si j'avais pu lui dire auparavant que je l'aimais tant, si j'avais pu lui dire que je serais pas là à le regretter, si j'avais pas menti, sans les grosses putains de silence tenus, si j'avais su, ce n'est pas à vous que j'avouerais ça si je m'étais tu. Mon cœur saigne, l'écoute en entendu, attentif. Si j'avais pu être présent près d'elle l'hiver comme été, si j'avais pu l'étreindre, ouais, avant qu'elle parte, si j'avais pu l'entendre, si j'avais su, j'allais rester là à chercher à comprendre si je m'étais dit. Attends, c'est peut-être pas tout dit si je m'étais dit. Mon Dieu, m'aurait peut-être entendu si je le savais. Notre amour, c'est sûr, j'aurais sauvé si je le savais. Bon, elle, j'aurais moins joué les singes, ça un peu moins bête. J'aurais évité les comment ça va si j'étais bien. J'aurais pas fait que chez nous seul que ce retour commençait, ouais.
You look like a queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. Tap, cruising around, singing through the big city, living for the weekend, saying, isn't it a big pity? We can gossip, there's nothing left in the key. Wishing we could stay this way, but forever thinking we're so weak. Sun comes up, we find ourselves heading back to the sea, thinking that we might as well. We had never felt so free. The summer sounds putting up for 1, 2, 3. You say you are a princess, you look like a queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. Big waves sent to test the strength of our love. They come, they go, they go. Big waves sent to test the strength of our love. They come, they go, they go. Stand tall, stay strong. Just let the big waves roll on. Stand tall, stay strong. Just let the big waves roll on. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me. You say you are the princess of Monaco, I'll admit that. Yeah, you look like royalty. You look like queen to me.
So, Princess Monaco there by Bonsai Pirates. They are playing the Old Fire Station on Saturday night. I was chatting with them in the pub. They are pulling out all the stops because they are supporting the Wurzels, which is one of the big gigs. You know, the Wurzels are a massive band. Okay, you might know them from the 80s and their track, I Got a Brand New Combine Harvester. But they have a dance version of that now. So all the guys, because I saw the Wurzels a few years back down in Beer Regis. I went to a folk festival in Beer Regis. The Wurzels were on the bill. And they played that, but they've got a dance version of it. So it's all. So they've got all these big guys with their big hairy cider bellies because they're always on about drinking cider, the Wurzels. So you got to get your cider in, and you got to get your combine harvester, and then go down the Old Fire Station. But before that, you're going to hang out and be a pirate for the evening. So you've got to do lots of R's as well. But yeah, Saturday night from about 7 o'clock. Is that it?
Well, yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, I wanted you to talk about the Wurzels. There's such passion in your voice when you said it. Okay, so we're back with the Bournemouth Writing Festival, the advisory board. We are one member short of the advisory board. Kim West couldn't make it tonight. So yeah, we did invite her. Gutted she couldn't make it. Hopefully we'll get her on the show another time if she wants to come in. But we obviously have Dominic, John, Brad and Alex. So I'm going to go back over to the guys now. I'm going to ask you, how was it that you... what is the filtering process for what you want to put on the programme of the Writing Festival each year? Like, how did you choose the selection of events this year? Because there's such a variety of things. So I'm just wondering, like, how you put that together.
So we put a call out for speakers in the summer, and we have a brief as to what we're looking for. So it is very much about the practical side and craft of writing, as opposed to, here's my book, here's the themes of my book, buy my book, I'll sign my book. It's very much about imparting advice and guidance. So that's an open call to everybody, and then we get all of those in. And then from all of those entries, have a look at what their topic is, who they are, what their experience is, and then kind of put together a rough programme, and then I pass it over to the advisory board, who then kind of say, well, yeah, you've got too much self-publishing in here, or you need a little bit more plotting, or you might need to think about more inspirational stuff. So then I go back to the entry, to the submissions, and then put it together, and then go back to the advisory board and say, what do you think now? So it's a bit of an iterative process to finalise the programme.
Cool. So in terms of this year's events, which are the big ones? Which are the ones that you're looking forward to the most from what you've put on?
That's a very difficult question for me, because I can't choose a favourite. But
obviously I know you probably like every single thing that you've put on to a certain degree. But like, what is the one that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I think for me,
I was going to say, that's the same as asking me what my favourite band is. You've got to support everything and be supportive of everything, so you can't answer that honestly. Is that right, Dominic?
What I would do, though, is just point out the ones that I'm most proud of.
Let's put it in those words.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of the ones we do in the community. So we do free writing workshops for adults with additional needs, like people with Down syndrome or autism. This year we're working with BCP Child Services and putting on free workshops, actually hosted by Brad, for children in care and young care experienced young people. We're also working with We Are Humans, which is a charity in Boscombe, and we're putting on free writing workshops for homeless people and those in financial difficulties. We're also working with the IEA, who look after all of the language schools here in the area, and we're doing a free workshop and competition for language school students in the area where English is not their first language. So I think it very much is, the Writing Festival in April really goes deep into the community, and I would say, we did the writing workshops with the adults with additional needs last year, and it's so humbling and it's beautiful to see them being inspired, and Kevin, who runs it, is absolutely brilliant. And the ethos of the Writing Festival is to inspire all writers to write, regardless of your age, background, or ability. So to see, to give all members of our community access to writing professionals who may typically not have access to writing professionals is a big thing. And I like to thank our sponsors, the Arts Council England and Town Centre Bid for funding us, to enable us to put on these workshops. And another addition this year is actually something you're getting involved in, CW, and that's the chill out zone, which is at the Russell Coates Museum. So one bit of feedback we had from the feedback forms last year was the festival's quite overwhelming. There's so much going on, and people wanted a quiet space to go and chill out and relax in a quiet place. So this year we're going into the cafe at the Russell Coates, and we're going to have writing professionals such as yourself, and then and have very gentle, kind of easygoing writing exercises, drop-in activities if people want to take part. Otherwise, they just know there's a friendly face and a quiet place that they can just sit and chat to other people if they want to. Yeah,
I mean, I think that is one of the great things about the festival, the way it's reaching into the community, like you're saying there. So obviously excited for all of the events. I wish I could afford to go to them all. But just the expansiveness of it and the way it's growing is beautiful to see. So in terms of like things that you're looking forward to, Alex, is there anything in particular that you want to highlight?
Well, I'm super excited because this year Dominic and I are putting on an author marketplace. So I have 16 authors and 4 writing service providers. So I've got a poetry publisher, an editor, a social media marketer, and also Peer Journal is coming along. So it's a great chance to not only meet authors, but also to talk to people who can help you with your books.
Where's that going to be?
It's on the Sunday, the 27th, and that's going to be in Patch in above Bobby's.
Yeah.
So it's just, and we've got two authors who are actually having their launch party celebrations. So we have one at 11 a.m. and one at 2:30. That's John S. Frisbee at 11 and Alice G. May at 2:30. So it will be really exciting to come down and celebrate with them.
And I'm really excited about that. As again, this is about celebrating independent authors, so who may not have a chance to, put their books in Waterstones or afford launch parties, whatever it is. So to showcase our local authors and writers, that's another kind of strand of what the Writing Festival is about, and giving them a little bit of a hurrah and a support, and go up to them and have a chat with them, ask them about their writing journey, what their struggles were, what their challenges are, because this is the real writers. This isn't your kind of massive best-selling, very famous people like Alex here. These are, kind of people who are just starting out. Or so if you're available on a Sunday, please come along to Patch and just support them, say hello, maybe buy a book or two. And also we have free Clipper tea and Lucky Saint non-alcoholic beer to give away. So there's another reason to come along.
But I think whatever stage you are, you say that about me, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be signing books because it's just such a fantastic opportunity to meet your readers. It doesn't matter if you're on your first book or your fourth.
See, we have a celebrity coming on. There we go.
Brad, is there anything that you want to highlight?
Yes, Dominic mentioned the workshop with the children in care and care experience kids. There are two different workshops, and they're happening on the afternoon of the 26th. And I'm excited about that. One thing that'll be really nice, too, is I'll be working with my son, Jack, who is a filmmaker who lives in London, but he's going to come down for this. And we were trying to think, how would we do this? Because we just have 90 minutes. You're working with these young kids. They're not, professional writers, and we have to come up with some sort of narrative. And we want to present it that night because there's this Saturday night showcase where we're going to have a group called Born Jammy that's playing on the stage, and we're going to have the winners of the Bournemouth Writing Prize, which maybe we'll talk about in a minute, will be performing there. So it's going to be a big event. It's a big theater at Pavilion Dance, but we didn't want to sort of force these kids on stage because it would be terrifying probably for them. So we're like, is there a way we can capture something that they've done? So Jack came up with this thing called the Straight 8 Challenge that is something that people used to do with Super 8 cameras. So the idea was you would have 8, you could tell a story in 8 shots, and you have to shoot them consecutively. So you have to really think things out very carefully. And it's an opportunity to sort of think of beats of storytelling, and you sort of, you outline the whole thing, and then they shoot it. And Jack's going to bring some kit down. The kids will be able to get their hands on it, and they'll be shooting it, they'll be acting in it. And we'll capture one for the younger kids. That's the kids in care. And then later in the afternoon, we'll have kids who are care experienced. So that's 18 to 25s. And each one of them will have these little short Straight 8 Challenge films, and we'll run those during the festivities on Saturday. And the band, Born Jammy, is up on stage providing a live soundtrack along with it. So it should be kind of cool seeing how it evolves. So it's going to be a little rough and ready. It's something we're just pulling together on the day, which can be a little unnerving, but also really exciting.
And Born Jammy was performed last year at the Writing Festival, and it's a phenomenal event, actually, where they improvise the music. So we have open mic spots, and we have the winners of the Bournemouth Writing Prize reciting their winning entries, and then the band improvise the notes around what they're talking about. And then the headline of that particular event is a guy called MC Gramsci, who is a freestyle rapper, and honestly, it is what he does is jaw-dropping. So he takes prompts from the audience and then fashions a story from those prompts in a rap, and like how this guy's brain moves so quickly, I will never understand. But it's funny, it's inspiring, it's clever, it's just, I just can't explain it. And my 11-year-old son came to that, and I looked over to him, and his mouth was just open, and his eyes were just wide at this guy, just thinking and talking and rapping with the music being improvised as well. And the story was brilliant as well, and he's thinking about it and he's thinking of the plot and there's a twist in it and it's just brilliant. So he's coming back. So that Born Jammy event's going to be brilliant because not only do we have open mic slots, we have the winners of the Bournemouth Writing Prize performing, we have MC Gramsci, but Brad is going to be announcing the next iteration of the Bournemouth Writing Prize. So, and that's going to be super cool.
Which is our 10-year anniversary, so it's going to be a big deal. And we had such a success with the Bournemouth Writing Prize last year. It was the first time we've partnered with the festival, and it was so successful we're now able to triple the prize money on offer and add extra categories. So the winners for the poetry and for the short story, it's £1,000 for each of those. But then we have second prize, which is $300 for each of those, and we have third prize, which is $200 for each of those. So that's really an exciting thing to do. Do you think your son's going to do one of the open mic things? Is he going to put himself up for it?
He would love to, but no.
I actually performed at the Born Jammy event last year. I did my What If poem.
So you were one of the open mic people?
I did.
What was the experience like? Because the Born Jammy guys said what you have to do is just commit and they follow you. Is that how it works?
I was impressed with what they did because the poem that I read was quite a little bit absurdist, and it was a real change of pace for me. People were used to my poetry being maybe a bit more like meditative, a bit more spiritual, and then I got up there last year and out of nowhere did this like comedy piece, sort of like taking the mickey out of myself and poetry in general just a little bit, and I was really impressed that the band, they managed to come up with like a jaunty kind of thing to accompany me that really brought something extra to that piece, which it's one of the favourite performances I've ever done, like doing open mic poetry.
I completely forgot that you were one of the performers there, and again that just shows that the opportunities that the festival gives writers from all spectrums, from if you're a complete beginner or if you're professional, whatever. There is so many things like that which is happening throughout. Chances to perform, chances to speak to best-selling authors, chances to learn from those experts. I think that's and also on the Sunday night we did a showcase for marginalised writers, and to give them that platform in a theatre like that is extraordinary.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that, guys. John, did you have anything that you wanted to highlight before we go to another piece of music?
I think the literary walks are well worth joining. There's a visit to Mary Shelley's grave, and Hattie Miles really knows her stuff. So these are very worthwhile enterprises. And there's a Mary Shelley's grave and Tolkien's holiday areas as well. And I think that they're very well worth going on because Hattie Jake is so good. But I'm also pleased to see quite a lot of poetry. In fact, you're doing one, aren't you? Do you want to talk about that? Tell us about it.
Later. I'm at the Russell Coates at the Chill Out Zone, so I'm doing a haiku writing session on the Saturday morning. We've got Miriam San Marco there in the afternoon doing a word game session. We've got Claire Riley on the Sunday morning, which is a session about taking notice of your surroundings. And then we've got Abby G Poetry doing some writing prompts, and also a mini tour of the Russell Coates Museum on the Sunday afternoon, and that's all free. So it's designed as a space to come if the rest of the festival is getting overwhelming for any reason and you do need to chill out, then it's a place that you can come, and there'll be writers like myself there to do writing exercises or just chat about writing with you, but there's no pressure there. It's going to be a really fun and informal vibe.
And John's right, and what I didn't realise before I started the writing festival was what a massive poetry scene there is in Bournemouth. And I kind of underestimated, I didn't know, but it's huge, and there's so many kind of areas and there's so many kind of what I call dots all dotted around, and hopefully the Writing Festival is starting to bring them together. So we have the free poetry hub in the bandstand, which has been curated and run by the Winchester Poetry Festival. We've got a couple of in the poetry hub we have a poetry vending machine which has been donated to us by the National Trust, and our writers' havens, our writers' groups have been writing poems to contribute to that vending machine. Estelle Phillips has a community poem where you can contribute to that poem over the weekend. And also there's performances and drop-in activities. We also have a couple of workshops to really dig down into poetry. Poetry is a big thing, and I always kind of forget actually what a big, and it's a shame Kim's not here because she's a poet as well, you know. But yeah, it's such a massive poetry scene, so we're really trying to make that a feature of the festival.
Yeah, I think you've done a good job with that this year. There is a lot more poetry being amalgamated into it, which is great.
Where do we find the actual performance, poetry performance?
So on the website, there's a more detailed itinerary, a schedule of what's happening at the bandstand, but we've got a range of different poets coming along, giving performances and drop-in centres and sharing sessions. There's a couple of kind of, I guess what I call them fringe events happening, nothing to do with the Writing Festival, but are popping up for poets to go along to. So, keep your eye out because there's lots and lots and lots and lots happening.
Brilliant. So we are going to go to another piece of music, and then we'll come back and do some more chat with you guys. It's worth saying, though, if anyone is listening in and they've heard something that's caught their fancy and they want to know more, all of the details are on the website, aren't they? So if they go to bournemouthwritingfestival.co.uk, you've got the whole of the programme on there, and then information to buy tickets and such. So, yeah, if anyone is listening and they want more information...
And also we have programmes which are in all BCP libraries and some of our venues, St Peter's Church, Pavilion Dance, Patch, Waterstones. There's the physical programmes are available to pick up as well.
Brilliant. You just mentioned St Peter's Church, which is an excellent segue into our next song, because the artist we're going to play, Helena Mace, is actually playing a gig there on Friday at 7:30, and she's being accompanied by... Corinne Atkins. Playing at St Peter's Church on Friday night at 7:30. This is Helena Mace.
Livewire Live.
Do your work downloads take forever? Upgrade your internet to Juice Broadband Business and experience lightning fast speeds and packages to suit all budgets. With 5-star ratings, a team of real people who are here in Poole, and full fibre connectivity. See the amazing deals from Juice Broadband Business at juicebroadband.co.uk or call us on 01202 332 331.
Coming to cinemas on April 11th.
I'd like to tell you a story, son.
A breathtaking portrayal of one of history's most powerful and enduring stories.
Some say it's the greatest story ever told.
The King of Kings, based on the untold story by Charles Dickens, starring Oscar Isaac as Jesus Christ and Kenneth Branagh as Charles Dickens, alongside an all-star cast featuring Pierce Brosnan, Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Ben Kingsley, and Forrest Whitaker. The King of Kings is a must-see Easter event for all ages. For tickets and showtimes near you, visit thekingofkingsfilm.com.
You really are the true King of Kings.
It's time. For tickets and showtimes near you, visit thekingofkingsfilm.com.
Showcasing the best in music and the arts in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. This is Livewire Live, sponsored by Chaplins and the Cellar Bar.
That was Helena Mace. What was the name of the song there, Tim?
It was the first song she ever gave us, so it's ticking the bit of the retro box, as well as being, she's playing up-to-date music, this week in the in St Peter's Church. But that was Where Are the Rainbows, from circa 2007, 2008 sort of time.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah,
quite a while back.
Yeah, she's been going a long time, and she's damn good.
Yep. And she's in St Peter's Church this Friday at 7:30.
Yeah.
Well worth going to see. We're going to go back over to Brad now, who has a piece of flash fiction that he wants to share. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the piece?
Sure. Well, first of all, a little background. My background is actually from television writing. I lead the MA in Creative Writing and Publishing at Bournemouth University. I've done other types of writing, theatrical writing. Actually, John helped me get a play on at the Shelley Theatre. It was an interactive play called Shelley's Heart. And we were talking about St. Peter's Church. There's actually a locative version that you can unlock from going around in the churchyard. But I also do prose writing and short story writing and flash, and so that's what the piece is tonight. I thought I would read it and then I can say a little bit about it afterwards. Sure. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so here we go. It's called Where's Mac? Where's Mac? Then we're outside. I see a crowd of people holding hands like black paper dolls cut out from the night sky and lined up in neat rows. A man says your name. Does he know us? The wind blows. The paper dolls shiver. And where are you? And why does everyone look so miserable? I keep searching for that smirking boy from the picnic where we met. Mother called you trouble, but how could I resist that smile? Now we're inside. Someone put something in my hand. Did I ask for this? People keep saying they're sorry. For what? Our youngest appears, a familiar face, finally. I whisper, "Where's Mac?" Things get quiet. People stare. This makes me squirm. A fidget, Mother used to call me. But I'm not thinking about her. I'm thinking about you, waiting for your handsome face to push through all the others and rescue me from this terrible silence. Want to feel you take my hand and hear you say it's time to head home to work in my garden. You must be here. Of course you are. We started all of this. The children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. So many people gathered around talking about this man I've spent my whole life with, loving, soothing, sometimes defying when your famous temper flared too hot. Rambunctious, your grandmother called you on account of all the mischief you got up to as a boy, climbing trees and falling out, breaking your wrist, which she nursed in ice all night to save the hand, the one I want to hold now more than ever. I turn to our youngest. Where's Mac? She reminds me of the home, the hospice, the funeral. Then I remember you lying so still. I start to cry. Our youngest hugs me, but that's not what I need. I need... The tea I'm holding is cold. Someone takes it. Someone else says how sorry she is. But why is she apologizing? I wish you would stop hiding and explain all this, because despite what an old grump you can be, you're always kind to me. Which is why I ask, where's Mac? All the faces stare at our youngest, who tells me how your heart stopped working and they couldn't save you, but that's ridiculous. And then I remember your cold skin and feel myself shrinking into something even smaller than the wrinkled little nothing I've become, but that's okay. That's how I can find you again, collapsing into the emptiness you left behind. Through half-open curtains I see the sun coming out, or is it setting? Either way, it looks like a good day to work in my garden. Just need to get a move on, so where's Mac? Everyone is staring. I look to our youngest. After the longest time, she leans close and whispers, "He's not here right now." This makes me smile. Of course you aren't. You never had the slightest use for dull parties like this one, with all these strangers moping around. Then I'm in a big building with lots of old folks. Our youngest is here, too. She says, this is my new home. But where's my garden, I want to know. And where's Mac? He's not here right now, she tells me. But I know she's lying, because you're just around the corner, getting the lay of the land, planning our escape. Then it's evening. Our youngest is gone. The sun's last rays stain the lace curtains a deeper, dingier shade of yellow as the big picture window casts hazy light on the old gray people slumped in their old gray chairs, except for one chair, which is empty. The person who'd been sitting there walks toward me, blocking some of the light with his hunched shoulders and handsome face, leaning close to say, "Marjorie? My stars, after all these years, have you really forgotten my name?" Guess this place has that effect on folks, but I never will forget you. Mac. You look more confused than ever, until I stand and take your hand, the one with the wrist you broke so long ago. It's more flexible than I remember, smoother, smaller. Still, it's more familiar than anything I've touched in ages. I gently squeeze it and feel the confusion melt away.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very atmospheric.
Yeah, that was about my grandmother and about something that I saw after my grandfather's funeral where she couldn't remember that he had passed away. And at first, my mother was trying to explain it to her, and each time she did, she had to sort of relive the loss as we were all sort of standing around. It was very painful to watch. So eventually she just said, well, he's not here right now. And the first time I tried to write that, I just did it from my perspective, being in the room as third person, writing about it. And it was okay, but I kind of put it away after a while. And then I came back and I thought, shows you how changing perspective can make a difference. I thought, what if I did it from her perspective? And there's a bit of second person because she's directly speaking to her husband. So there's this you throughout it. Why aren't you here? And I think that added a poignancy to it that was missing before. And then it also allowed me to play with the idea of the dementia because we're seeing it from her perspective. So there's a lot of almost jump cuts, like a cinematic technique where you're in one place and now you're in another place and you're bouncing around. Because I wanted to sort of get us in the mindset of somebody who's struggling to make sense of things and things are kind of, there are gaps in her understanding of the world. And, actually, I've done some work, community outreach with people with dementia, and it's interesting to do. We did a thing with some veterans with dementia last summer, and before that, some of our creative writers, we did a thing called Memory Markers, where we actually paired up creative writers. We sort of made teams. It would be a person with dementia, a family member, and a creative writer, and the family member would bring in old photos, and we would use that as sort of a jumping off point. And it was some of the poems and the stories that emerged from that, sort of the person with dementia sharing memories and the writers taking them and building them were really beautiful. And it's interesting to see. I think a lot of times we think of people with dementia as sort of people that are becoming less than what they used to be, like they're sort of shrinking away in front of us. But they're still growing and changing and evolving and becoming different types of people. And so it is interesting when you can find ways to connect with them like that.
And how long is that?
How long is the piece?
Yes.
It's about 700 words.
Right. Yeah. I just thought maybe you could build it up into a longer piece, but it could be it's a snapshot, really, isn't it?
I think I kind of like it as a snapshot. Yeah. That's the thing about Flash, isn't it? Trying to find what's the right size for it.
But it's so powerful as it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was really, really excellent. Was the image of the paper dolls? Was that about kind of people changing, kind of folding out from each other and
I was trying
getting
to think
smaller?
Of an image I wanted to sing about the mourners, but I didn't want to make it too obvious. So they had these black paper dolls all holding hands in rows.
Yeah.
And I thought, and also because her mind is kind of slipstreaming between her past and the present, that's the type of thing a little girl would think of. So it's sort of this moment, it's sort of it's sometimes you have an image that's almost like striking a chord, like it's doing a couple things at the same time. So it's like her little girl seeing these things, but in real time she's also seeing these mourners in front of her. So I was trying to create that sort of effect, I think.
Yeah. No, that was really evocative detail. That just drew me into it straight away.
So thank you.
Really excellent piece. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thanks, CW.
We are going to also have Alex reading us an extract from her new novel. Are we going to have another nice piece of music before that, though, Tim? What have we got next?
So Chris Payne happens to be a local superhero around here in Dorset parts. He is playing on Friday night at the Cockle. Now, I did hear rumours he might be appearing with his old rocking mate Andy as well, but we'll have to hold fire on that one. I did see something about Chris and Andy doing a collaboration together. Whether that's going to be this Friday night or not, I don't know for sure. But the Cockle Show pub, 8:30 on Friday. Chris Payne will be playing. He has produced a new single called Pow 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 Pow. Have to count the pows in that. Make sure it's only 4 pows and not 5 pows or 3 pows. But yeah, basically, his general music is very theatrical, very eclectic, and is very chameleon-like. He can do hardcore rock, he can do funsy, folksy stuff, he can do, yeah. But this is Pow Pow Pow. See what you think about it.
Take a walk on my heart. I'm so numb, I won't feel it for the most part. Take a walk in my hands, take a look in my head for the view. Far apart in the crowd, heaven knows there's a trigger on the street now. You don't know who you are, I don't know where I am with you. And there's nothing left to save us from this hell. It's a trap. Somewhere just to fall, then we nowhere at all. I don't know how to leave, now I'm making a peace with the wall. Bow, 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 bow. I've got a headache for you now, 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 now. I'm coming down, 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 down. I'm gonna drink it till I drown, drown, drown you out. Where's the magic gone? I wanna feel it.
Chris Payne there, and Pow 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 Pow. I had to count my fingers up there to make sure I don't say too many. But yeah, as you heard there, capturing the motive of fighting for what you believe in, which is, you know, being true to yourself, basically. No matter what happens, no matter where, we're in a world of conflict, being true to yourself and being true to your fundamental beliefs, which is what he says in his little write-up about the song there. But yeah, Pow 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 Pow. He is available. He's playing. I'm guessing this is going to be a cover set. Looking at the write-up at the Cockle Shell on Friday, The big one he's pushing is he's playing Dublin Castle in Camden on Tuesday, coming up. So Tuesday the 8th. Next in the Bournemouth, he'll probably doing an original show in the Anvil on Friday, April the 25th. That's the Originality Live night run by Dixie Dix.
Yeah.
So they're going to be putting that on, and Chris will be there doing some original stuff. So Dominic, you need not apply. Yeah. Dominic was talking about how much he loves Chris, and then I said, "Oh, it's fantastic, and his originals are better than the covers." And then Dominic said, "Bear to disagree. You know, he likes the covers over the originals, which is all fine." But yeah, it's all good. Yeah, he's also playing Teddy Rocks this year, as are a lot of artists. We're going to be doing a show looking at Teddy Rocks at the end of this month. So the last show of the month is last Wednesday of the month is going to be looking at Teddy Rocks. Over to you, Chris.
We're going to go back to Alex, who is going to read us the first chapter of her new novel. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the book first, or do you want to read the chapter and then tell us a bit more?
I will tell you very little, otherwise I will spoil it. But
Okay.
it's called The Quiet Sister, and it's about twin sisters, Chloe and Mia. So, what have I done? I fought my way through the crowd that had gathered on the once familiar street. I'd never seen so many people here before. Sunday evenings were usually quiet, calm, not like this. I scrunched my nose at the strong scent of smoke filling the air. It reminded me of bonfire nights as a child, where the night air had carried the smell of burning towards us, long before we'd even reached the park. That was wrong too. It was still October, too soon for bonfires. When I'd left almost 2 hours earlier, I'd breathed in the damp autumnal evening air, but now? Bile rose in my throat and I swallowed. I had to keep going. I craned my neck to see properly. Blue lights flashed against a glow of red and orange. I could feel the heat on my face even from here, but I still wasn't close enough. I couldn't see, couldn't be sure. I reached the front where the crowd of curious locals with their mobile phones held high, recording the action, were held back by a makeshift tape barrier. I ducked underneath it. "Miss," a police officer called to me before I was even fully on the other side. "You need to keep back." I shook my head at him. A piece of tape wasn't enough to deter me. Nothing was. My rebellion seemed to ripple through the crowd, and the police officer's attempts to follow me were thwarted by the reporters who surged forwards in my wake. I veered up the street, around the corner, and my eyes widened as my feet froze in place. I'd known it already. From the second I'd seen the smoke billowing upwards above the rooftops, something inside me had known. And yet now, as I stood here, my gaze transfixed on the burning building ahead of me, I realised I'd still hoped I was wrong. After all, I usually was. I started walking again, drawn to the building despite the danger. The voice of caution in the back of my head screamed at me to stop. It was the voice I usually listened to, until today. "Miss!" The police officer's voice was louder this time, and followed by a strong hand that grasped my arm, drawing me to a halt. "You can't be here." I turned to him this time, my eyes barely seeing him through the blur of my tears. My voice croaked before giving way. He turned his head and I followed his gaze back to the building that had once meant so much to me. I gasped as the fireman emerged through the broken front door, a lifeless body in his arms. Even through the smoke, I recognised her. I knew her better than I even knew myself. I took a shaky step forward, but the police officer blocked my path. "She's my sister," I whispered. Understanding softened his professional expression. I clung to his arm as paramedics rushed towards the fireman, and they lowered my sister onto a stretcher. They leaned over her, checking for a pulse, slipping on an oxygen mask over her face and trying to resuscitate her. But I could tell from their expressions it was already too late. They kept trying, hoping. I knew how it worked. I'd been here before, a different place, a different time, but the result had been the same. I'd ended up alone. A uniformed officer ran towards the paramedics and his hand flew to his mouth as he reached them. "Ethan," I realised as I squinted at him through the smoke and tears. I could feel his sadness as he reached out and stroked her left hand as it lay beside her on the stretcher. The intensity of his action surprised me. I'd introduced them only days before, but I could see she already mattered to him. Jealousy spiked within me. She always mattered. I pushed that thought away as guilt engulfed me. It felt as though those two emotions were in a constant battle. I'd always known they would destroy me one day. I just hadn't realised they would destroy her too. I want to go with her, I said softly as the paramedics wheeled the stretcher towards the waiting ambulance. The police officer at my side nodded and guided me forwards. Ethan turned and his eyes met mine. Mia. Mia. The name ricocheted through me. He rushed towards me. I can't believe it's Chloe. He glanced back at over his shoulder and I stared at the ring on her left hand. Do you want me to call Scott? I can get him to meet you at the hospital. I froze. Mia? Ethan touched my arm gently. No, I stuttered. I'll call him. Are you sure? Ethan studied me uncertainly. I nodded. I should be the one too. My voice gave way again, but Ethan nodded. He understood. At least he thought he did. I love that noise.
Keep going. No, we don't have time, but I wish we did. So,
that's the perfect opportunity to just say, where do you buy the book from?
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say next. Thank you very much, Tim. Cool, got some backseat presenting going on here.
Somebody's keen.
Anyway, Alex, where would we get that book?
Any bookshop can order it in.
Yeah.
Westbourne Bookshop have some signed copies in stock.
Oh, nice.
Or you can get them through my website or come along to the Bournemouth Writing Festival on the Sunday. I will be there signing books.
Cool. So the book itself, that's about, I'm guessing from over here, that's about 500-600 pages long? Maybe a bit less, maybe about
400. Where's my page numbers? 385.
385. Okay, how long does it take you to write a book of that length? Because I'm a poet, so I'm very much like, I get in there with an idea and then I get out of there and I move on to the next poem. And I actually, people have said to me, would you ever want to write a novel? And I've said to them, I lack the commitment to write a novel, to commit to one particular thing, one particular story is more than my attention span can probably take. I'm just wondering, how long does it take to put a novel like that together?
This one took a bit longer. My dad got really sick when I was writing it, so I had a bit of a break, bit of writer's block snuck in there a little bit. So it's been really great actually doing the networking things to get me back writing. But the aim is that I have another one coming out in October, so I get 6 months to write a book if I do it on time.
6 months?
Yes.
Okay. So that one took the whole of the 6 months?
This one took longer. This was over a year.
Yeah, that took over a year.
Because I had
Is it 6 months for you to finish the first draft?
Yeah.
And then to get it published? What's the timeline?
Well, I get 6 months to write it, yes, and then we'll do the edits. So I've been on it since when did I start? November. So my 6 months is up soon, and then it's going to be out in October. Is the plan. I have to finish it. I'm a bit behind. Don't tell my editor.
Do you have like a process that you follow to actually make yourself sit down and write? Like, do you try and write so many words a day, or do you have like a little routine or something that helps get you in the zone?
It's really weird, but I was actually more disciplined when I worked full time as an accountant, and I was determined to slot the writing in every spare moment.
Yeah.
And now I work part time as an accountant, and I have more time to write. And I'm really bad at the routine. So they say if you want something doing, give it to a busy person, don't they? So I think I've fallen foul of that. So it is at the moment, I'm just learning the best ways that I can kind of put a routine in. Actually, one of the sessions at the Bournemouth Writing Festival is about habits. So I'm going to be going to that one.
So you don't have a set number of words a day or anything like that?
No, not per day. At the moment, in order to meet my deadline, I'm aiming for 10,000 words per week, which is a lot. So, but yes, that's a bit ambitious, but we'll see.
So it's a psychological thriller?
Yes.
So people like Patricia Highsmith or Barbara, what is her name? Barbara. Can't remember her surname. Who would be your influences?
Gillian McAllister is a huge influence for me. She's an amazing writer. And then you've got Shalini Boland, Sue Watson. There's some really fabulous writers. And I love, in mine, I put quite a lot of layers of characters' emotional journeys in it and touching on the mental health. So in this one, you can see it's going to be grief, guilt, this whole concept of being a twin. How did that affect them as children, as they've grown up? How do they define their place in the world, and is it separate from the identity of each other? So I'm fascinated by psychology, and I love that I get to put that in a book.
Yeah.
Isn't mental health a theme that you have in a lot of your books?
Yeah. So one of the reasons when I came down here on my career break was I'd been diagnosed with agoraphobia. And basically I'd had it since I was 15, and it had just been, oh, you're a bit anxious.
Yeah.
And go back to school, go back to university and college. And I white-knuckled it through a huge chunk of my life, just doing these things, putting a smile on my face, pretending I was, fully present and engaged, and it was hell. And so now it's been a real learning process for me to kind of find situations that I can engage in, and even just sitting here in a room because the walkway is blocked off. I would never have done that 5 years ago. I would have been sitting by the doorway ready to be able to leave if I needed to. So it's just incredible. And I have writing and the community of writers that we've got down here to thank for that.
Have you written about a character that has agoraphobia?
Yes.
Did that help in a way for you?
It was a bit weird. So it was my second book. It was The Other Girlfriend, and I found it really hard to write. Going therapeutic in a way, but going into all that trauma and understanding it and putting it down for other people to read it and judge it, that felt hard. So I struggled with that book. But yeah, the response that I've had from people who've read it, and there's a lady that's written to me to say her husband has always suffered with agoraphobia, but he'd never been able to explain it. And she's read the book, and now she just feels like she can understand where he's coming from a bit better. And just what an amazing to do that for somebody. It's just the most rewarding feeling.
Cool. Absolutely. Yeah. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So the writer I was thinking of, the Barbara writers, Barbara Vine.
Oh, yes.
Who is incredibly famous.
Yes.
So famous I couldn't remember her name.
Thanks, guys. We're going to go for another nice piece of music now. Before we do that, we don't always do this, but if anyone out there is listening and they've got a question for one of the guys, if you phone in on 01202 777 321, we'll take the question and we'll try and get you on air if possible. So yeah, 01202 777 321. We've got about 45 minutes of the show left now, so if you do have a question for one of the guys, please give us a call. We're going now to a brand new piece of music, which is a track by Neil Sexton called Ordinary People.
Livewire Live. Hope FM, proud broadcast partners of the Water Lily Project, passionately supporting and empowering vulnerable women, helping them back into independent living. To find out more, visit waterlilyproject.org.uk.
This is a UNICEF emergency appeal. Children in Ukraine urgently need our help. UNICEF is delivering essential supplies to protect children affected by the crisis. But we need your help. £27 could help provide an emergency shelter kit for one family. Search UNICEF Ukraine online to donate now. That's UNICEF Ukraine online, and help show families affected by the conflict they are not alone. Thank you.
Chaplains and the Cellar Bar in Boscombe is currently UK Community Pub of the Year and Best Entertainment Venue in the South West. It's also been named Camera Pub of the Year in Dorset.
Our bistro menu features locally sourced, award-winning seasonal ingredients, freshly prepared to suit any taste or dietary requirement.
And 7 days a week, there's original live music in a wide range of genres, along with poetry, theatre and comedy nights.
Friendly and inviting, Chaplains has all the right ingredients for a perfect night out.
Chaplains and the Cellar Bar, Christchurch Road, your award-winning independent bar and live music venue in the heart of Boscombe.
showcasing the best in music and the arts in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. This is Livewire Live, sponsored by Chaplins and the Cellar Bar.
Loud and clear, the time has come for you to walk away. It's time to give up. If everything remains the same, the night is drawing in, and you'll have no place left to stay. But when you roll through the night, then I'll roll through the night. Everybody's gone, you're gonna lose your mind, returning back to where you think you're from. It's time to give up. If everything remains the same, the night is drawing in, and you'll have nothing left to say. But when you roll through the night, then I'll roll through the night.
That was Neil Sexton, Ordinary People. That was a brand new track. Did we have the exclusive on that, Tim? So never been heard before, or
it's never been heard before, as far as I know. It was released last Friday. So Neil's, it's available on all good streaming platforms and the other ones as well, like Spotify. Oh, did I say that out loud? Anyway, yes, it's available on streaming platforms. Just look for Neil Sexton. He's the lead singer of the Samurais. those that will know that back in the day, Sammy Eyes are still going as a band, but they've tended to focus on the covers. So Neil wants to keep going with the original stuff, so he's producing stuff in his own right now, and that was one of them that you just heard, right there. Ordinary People.
Cool. So we're going to go back over to Brad to talk about some upcoming stuff, namely the Bournemouth Journal, which you've been busy putting together over the past few months.
Yes, we're very excited about it. Actually, it came, some of this, the ability to do this was related to partnering with the festival to do this Bournemouth Writing Prize, the latest version of it, because we realized what we needed to do was to sort of change the way our delivery would happen. So we would have the anthology that would go with the prize ready for the festival that happened in April. And in order to make that happen, I won't get into all the boring logistics of it, but we had to shift some things around. And there's a class that's normally taught in the springtime where we would have done that anthology, and suddenly we had an open space. And it gave us an opportunity to do other things. So what we've done is created an international literary review called the Bournemouth Journal. And not only that, we're doing 2 issues of it. This is our MA Creative Writing and Publishing students at Bournemouth University. They're doing 2 issues of this brand new journal, and those are taken from people that submitted to the prize and scored highly, but didn't make that final shortlist, but were really strong pieces. So we culled together some really strong pieces for those 2 issues. And the other thing we did, along with the prize, we had a charity that we supported, which is called the Outsiders Project, and they have some amazing writing that comes from that. So these are people that have sort of been marginalized. They could have done prison time. They could have been, had a history. They could be in recovery, had mental health issues, anything where they have felt like an outsider in the past and have learned to sort of take ownership of that and write their truth. So some beautiful pieces come out of that. So we're done an anthology for them. It's called an outreach anthology. So moving forward, we're going to move that class now to the autumn, and this autumn we'll be doing a new anthology for the Bournemouth Writing Festival, the 10-year anniversary of it. We'll do another issue of the journal and another outreach anthology for Storyworks, which is a charity that does a lot of stuff with young children. So it's nice to have all these publishing outputs that are coming out, and the students get to be really involved. And because you can hear it on our name, the MA in Creative Writing and Publishing. So we want them to have the experience of being editors, working with writers, having contact, copy editing stuff, working with people, and really crafting it together to create things that go out and are public facing and make it out into the world.
Cool. So the Bournemouth Journal, you said there's 2 issues.
Mm-hmm.
Is that at the time, for the time being, or would you foresee there being more issues of that in the future? Is it something that's going
Well, what we want to do is continue to grow the degree, and some of it's dependent on that. So the bigger the degree gets, then the more outputs we can do. It's a bit of a competition with the students. So there's 2 teams doing each thing, and then we'll decide. So issue 1 of the journal, there's 2 different versions of that being created, and then the staff will decide, okay, that's the one that will get published, and that will come out on June 1st. And then issue 2, same thing, 2 teams, we pick the one that's going to come out. That'll come out on, I believe it's October 1st. So, and the same thing with the Outreach Anthology, 2 versions of that, and we'll pick the one. And that kind of helps, because if for whatever reason one of the teams really struggles and it doesn't quite come together, we'll know. And also having a bit of competition gets people trying and really pushing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see what can come out of that.
Yeah, and you said though that you took some of the runners-up from the writing competition and put those in there as well. So is that something where you maybe open those submission
what we're going to
guidelines out to?
Well, at the actual festival this year, and this is what we want to do moving forward, is at the festival we announce, okay, we're open for submissions to the new Bournemouth Writing Prize. Simultaneous to that, we'll all say you can also submit directly to the journal. So if you don't want to pay the entry fee to the Writing Prize, you can it'll be like £3. You can just submit to the journal. And we're getting a submittable account open, which people who've submitted in the past to the prize will appreciate, because we've done it through Eventbrite, which is very clunky. So now we've got that in place. So I think it's going to be really nice and seamless. And this 10th year anniversary we're excited about. And one of the things we're going to do, the degree that I was talking about and the Bournemouth Writing Prize were both created by someone named Emma Scattergood, who's very involved with the Bournemouth Writing Festival. And we wanted to give this sort of an honor her for the 10-year anniversary because it all came from her. These are her brainchildren. And so we're going to, she'll do the cover of the 10-year anniversary. She's an artist. And so her anthology, she'll make the cover of it. And we're also going to do an interview with her in it. So it's nice to sort of do a little tip of the hat to Emma.
Yeah, nice. It's nice as well to, for those runners up, there's nothing worse than entering a writing competition knowing that you got really close but weren't quite there. So it is actually nice that there's something there for the people that, like you say, did score highly, but because of the other, the merit of the other pieces or whatever didn't quite make it through. So that's really lovely.
And from the Bournemouth Writing Festival point of view, I think it's brilliant that we partnered up with the university and the Creative Writing and Publishing MA because again it gives opportunities to writers from all walks of life and from all different disciplines and all different genres. And the competition actually is worldwide, and we get entries from across the world, from New Zealand, South Africa, India, Hong Kong, everywhere. And actually one of the winners happens to be based in Bournemouth, because it's all anonymised, so we don't know who the judges don't know who's written them, and the winner happens to be in Bournemouth. So I think, again, giving access to writing professionals, giving opportunities to writers.
Dorset Magazine.
Yeah, and giving and having. So you're right. It's not just two winners, and that's it. You've got more chance of seeing your works published. Yeah. And we just agreed with Dorset Magazine, our kind of high profile, high quality glossy magazine for the area. We'll be publishing
very posh magazine.
And you're saying that because you're in it.
I'm saying that because I'm in it. Yeah.
Now it's posh.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's posh. For the winners of the 2026 Writing Prize that we're launching at the festival will be published in Dorset Magazine. So that's another string to the bow, and again another opportunity for writers to enter and to get their words out into the world, because essentially that's what most writers want to do.
Very cool, very cool. We did actually have a question, Dom, about what are the chances of ever seeing you at a poetry open mic, doing some poetry.
I've seen it.
Joining in the fun.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, so I don't really say my work out loud, but I did kind of. Actually, it was an event with Brad. It was what was the name of it? It was
Rising Voices.
Rising Voices for people from ethnic minorities, and to get as a platform to say their words. And I also did it at Doppelgangers. So I got the
tall, right?
Yeah, I got the courage from Brad's. I was invited. Brad very kindly invited me to this Rising Voices showcase, and I had written this piece about a child who is a late developer, and I just kind of did it, and I wasn't planning to do it, but I did it. And then I was invited to the Doppelgangers event at Obsidian, and I did it. And I think my son was there actually when I can't remember if he came along to that one. But it's very rare, if I'm honest with you, to ask that question. And to be fair to you, I don't have that much time to write anymore. So there's my excuse.
Yeah, also wanted to ask about the children's activities at this year's festival.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, we the Writing Festival is all about inspiring all writers to write, and we have a children's writing competition which has just finished, and that was with the RNLI, a water safety and life-saving adventure story, where we gave free resources, and the RNLI did a lovely video with a lifeguard to inspire Dorset children, home-educated children, to write. And then at the festival itself on the Saturday, we are taking over Patch with free drop-in activities, which will be hosted by Artful Scribe and We Are Authentic Education. And we will also have 4 workshops which are targeted very specifically at children and encouraging them to write. So one of them is called Write Like Shakespeare. Another one is Destructive Writing, and also writing screenplays. So there's loads of stuff for kids as well.
Sorry, I've got to ask, Write Like Shakespeare. What is that event? They're going to write in iambic pentameter, or
I don't think it's going to be like that. But I think what it is just kind of celebrating Shakespeare and making his writing accessible.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like Shakespeare is the thing that like kids are usually a little bit terrified of when they do it at school. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is and it's his birthday and death day coming, 2 days before the festival. So I think it's a lovely addition. But you're right. Sometimes writing can be inaccessible or difficult or intimidating, and I think doing workshops like this, specifically aimed at children, breaks down those barriers and just say, do you know what? Anyone can write, and as long as you enjoy it. And when I was listening to Brad and Alex talking, you're hearing the kind of end of their particular writing journey. It's kind of polished and edited and done, but the hard work that goes into that, and the thought processes, and the sleepless nights, and the writer's block, and the stress and pressure to write it and have the courage to read it out loud to any number of people listening is phenomenal. And a lot of writers. I speak to a hell of a lot of writers over the years, and I kind of put people into two camps. One is whether people want to write because they want to do it as a career and make money, or if they want to write for the joy of it. And then if they get published, then that's a bonus. And I always kind of, I'd be interested to hear your takes, actually, because they're two very different routes that you can go down, and usually in the kind of career route, you have to write for a very specific audience or write for a very specific genre. But when you write for joy, your mind's much more open, and you can kind of write what you like, essentially. So Brad, what do you write for? Do you write to enter competitions and to make money out of it, to make a career, or do you write because you enjoy it and then that I'm quite pleased with that, so then I'm gonna?
You have to write for love, otherwise you're not going to stick with it, because it can be a long slog, and so you have to really enjoy it, and you have to fall in love with the piece. And you can fall out of love with it, and then back in love with it again. But you have to keep that going, that intuition, you definitely. I was reading some quote the other day about, it was Erica Jong who was talking about writing for love, and she talked about some writers will talk about, I just do it for money. But she said, that's not really the case, because if you start writing for money, you're going to be tempted to just kind of repeat your earlier successes, and then it becomes like an old tea bag that you just keep running water through over and over. It has to be a process of discovery. Then again, I will say there are different types of writers who work in different ways, and I think some writers, like a Hemingway, might mine a particular sort of vein of gold that fits, and there's certain words he would use and certain ones he wouldn't. But then you might have someone like James Joyce, who's all over the place and trying all kinds of different things, and each chapter might be a reinvention of what a novel could be. And both of those are legitimate ways to go about doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think all writers really write for love rather than money, because there are far easier ways of making money than writing, unless you're into hard labour. So I think that most writers, even though they may say, it's just a job, I think that you've got to have that love, and that's something that never leaves you, really.
I think poetry especially is something that you have to do for the love of it. It is notoriously difficult to make money doing poetry, but for myself, it's just something that I couldn't stop doing it even if I tried, because it just comes out of me, and my life would be so much less if I wasn't writing those poems and doing some of the things that I've been doing in the last few years. Like, it's really really enhanced my life. So it is nice when you get those little bits of money coming to you from doing it. But poetry especially is something that you have to be in it for the love. And I always think as well, you can't really foresee where it goes or put the expectation on it. You have to do it, and then it kind of comes alive as it goes along. It's like an organic, it's a growing process, kind of like what you were saying there, Brad, about like, you know, not wanting to repeat the same thing or come up with a specific formula. You've just got to go along and see what happens.
I sometimes feel like it's a bit like wading into a river, and you're just waiting for the current to start picking you and moving you along, and then you can kick your feet up and just start floating. And that's when it's really working.
Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to that feeling of floating along. I'm not sure. I think I've still got my armbands on at the moment, but hopefully soon. Okay, so we're going to have a piece of music now, and then we're going to come back for just a little bit more chit-chat before the end of the show. So this is a track by George Moore, and it's called Moved Away. His latest project, EP5, is out now via Burton Chapel Records, and it's a new chapter in his evolving sound. He's rooted in UK indie pop, and this EP blends guitar-driven melodies with George's signature homemade aesthetic. EP5 explores relationship breakdowns, communication struggles, and mental health, with George's unmistakable storytelling at its core. And I was reading that from the press release. So here is George Moore, Moved Away.
Reminds me of a summer where it's super dry. It's crazy that we were just 16. Everything felt like a real bad dream. I saw this picture of you where you dyed your hair. I guess it kinda suits you, buddy. I'ma have to stop you there. I don't know who you are anymore. You told me that's what Facebook is for. Ever since I moved away, it's been strange. I don't like how you changed since I moved away. Ever since I moved away, changed since I moved away. I'm losing faith, can't find the space to say I need you, but sorry, but I can't find the time. It passes by, you know I'm sorry if everything I did kept you further every day. Been wondering just how to say, but ever since you moved away, it's been strange. I don't like how you changed since I moved away. Since I moved away, don't like how you changed since I moved away. Ever since I moved away, don't like how you changed since I moved away.
That was George Moore. Sorry.
You can't remember what it's
I'm having one of those moments. Tim, save me.
Moved Away. It's also marks Teo Sound. It's a collaboration with Teo Sound, and it's Teo Sound's first release in 2 years. So that's created a bit of a buzz around this EP as well. So yeah, EP5 or EP5. I don't know if it's EP5 or whether it's EP5 as in short for episode 5. But yeah, just
I read it as EP5.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, that was George Moore from. He's a Weymouth lad. But we still support Weymouth because it's sort of Dorset-ish, and we are sort of Dorset-ish. Although there's chalk and cheese between Weymouth and Bournemouth, I must say that much when looking at the music scene. Don't know about, is it the same in the writing scene? Is it very parochial?
I don't think it's particularly parochial. No, I think there's quite a lot of exciting writers around. So no, I don't think it's parochial.
Cool.
John, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what you've got coming up. So I think you've got a few plays in production at the moment, is that right?
Well, not in production, in what they call...
In development.
It's called that terrible word, development. Yes, I mean, we're doing that is Doppelganger, my company I sort of run. We're doing going to do a play about Joe Cox, the Labour MP that was murdered. This is another of my comedies. Who was murdered outside her constituency office. So we've done some research into that, and we've written some scenes, and we've performed some of the scenes, and we were trying to decide the focus of it, because we got quite interested in the actual guy who did the killing of Joe Cox. And Joe Cox comes over to us as a slightly bland character, so we've kind of got a lot more interested in the killer and why, it's obviously about political violence. So that's a play that's in development with Doppelganger at the moment. And I'm also writing a play about, will sound very strange, black Germans, that is Germans who are black or were black during the war years, and so it's really about what happened. Their untold story of black Germans, and most of them ended up in the concentration camps. So again, a light, hilarious piece of work.
You say that, but you have actually done a comedy, haven't you?
Just one.
Just the one, which was, sorry, what was it called again?
It was called Hap. It's a play about happiness, really.
And that was performed in Copenhagen, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's toured Europe, and it's been done over here.
It's a dark comedy, though, in a way, because she's maniacal. She can't stop being happy.
No, that's right. That's right.
It's a fantastic premise.
That was the thing about Copenhagen, that the actress who played her in Copenhagen was quite threatening. The laughter was quite threatening. I thought she was over the top. But then thinking about it, it was right.
Put people on edge.
I felt quite uncomfortable at times. Yeah. Yes, it's interesting. They're thinking about doing that as a film now, so that maybe a film.
It's a nice two-hander because her foil is the therapist who's very morose, right? So you've got this interesting dynamic between them.
Yeah. Yes, you must be my publicity agent.
That's one of my favorite pieces that you've done. I just can't believe you haven't done another comedy since then.
That's a number of people have said that. The only comedy I can think of doesn't have a story. That's the problem. It's based upon I used to write for cop series like Juliet Bravo, and I knew an actress who played dead bodies, and that was her speciality, was to play dead bodies, and she had all this kind of different techniques of. She explained to me how she would lie in a particular position, and there was the breathing, and there was quite a technique of how to play a dead body, but I can't come up with a story.
There's some sort of premise there.
Yeah,
that's an interesting idea. Yeah, there's something there. something there to build on.
But not quite sure what.
Yeah. Hopefully the idea will hit you one day. Oh, that's what I need to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of your plays over the last few years. I saw Fukushima at the Lighthouse and then Vigilante. Yeah, your plays they are quite dark, but they're also just like really engaging, and I really loved when you did the Fukushima, especially like how you put that together in terms of it was very minimalistic. You know, there wasn't really much of a set. The actors kind of created the idea of what was going on around them through the acting rather than through like props and set and all of that. So
didn't they switch roles during the performance? I mean, they actually took on different characters.
That was
right?
Vigilante, I think.
Oh, that was Vigilante.
Yeah, that was Vigilante.
Oh, that was so interesting. Yeah.
Is that the style that you like to go for with theatre? Is that something that you would do again in the upcoming productions?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I like theatre because you can experiment a bit. You know, you can mess around with the form, and you can do things that would be impossible in. I mean, most of my early life was writing TV, writing episodes for various series. And it's quite restrictive in a way, although it's great in many other ways. But there are things we could never tell the Joe Cox story, for instance, in a television setting. And theatre is good at taking those difficult subjects. And the thing about theatre I found, there's no escape. It's unforgiving. You know, you're on the stage, and you've got to deal with what you have to deal with. And theatre has that powerful medium with the audience sitting there, and they're not going to forgive you either. And the play has a relationship with the audience, so the audience have a role in the play. It may be an audience of teachers or an audience of youth workers or an audience of, but they have a kind of role in the play, and I think that's very, very powerful. And the fact that every performance is unique, so that the performance that you do on a particular night, that will never ever happen again. There'll be another performance next night, but it'll be that'll be different in certain ways. So it's a very powerful medium, and I wish I'd started writing for it earlier, really.
Okay, we're coming up to the end of the show now, but I have one final question which I need to ask you. You won a BAFTA. How did that feel?
Oh, it felt quite good. Yeah, why not?
Career highlight?
Oh, well, no. I'm not... Awards are nice, you know. I'm not against them. But, I mean, they don't mean very much, I don't think, really. I mean, if you think of all the great plays that have been written and performed, and all the great novels that have been written have never won an award, you know, it's ridiculous. And it's very political as well. Awards are very political. So it's great, nice to be able to put it on the old TV, but you know, I don't think it means very much, really.
Yeah, so didn't go to your head at all. It's still all about the writing and the actual execution.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much, guys, for coming into the studio tonight and chatting about all of that. So I hope you've had a good time. Yep. So we'll just do some outros now. So thank you to Dominic Wong.
Thank you for having us.
Brad Gyori.
It's been a pleasure.
Alex Stone.
Thanks for letting me read my book.
And John Foster.
Thank you.
Cool. We are going to go now to a piece of music to...
No, we can't do that. We've run out of time.
We've run out of time?
Yeah.
Oh. Is it because I asked about the BAFTA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the BAFTA. Because John's answer was so long-winded about... It's just ruined us, you know? But yes, it is time for us to get out of here, and we are going to be going out with a little bit of from back in the day. If you want to follow this artist, she's now quite an Instagram star, as she is the Lost Girl. But Beth Johnston is a real name, and back when she used to be living here in town, she used to produce this most amazing music. And we've got one of the tracks that she recorded for us, sort of queued up next, which is called. Troubled. Just couldn't see it for looking. But yeah, so we've got Troubled coming out from Beth Johnston. But CW, thank you very much. Well done, everyone. We've got a big thanks to Birdie for doing the desk. Silently in the background this time. We've not even had a chance to give Birdie the microphone. We could be really cool and say, Birdie, say something, and then just take the microphone away the minute you get your word out. Yeah. But yes, thank you very much. Good night.
Livewire Live. Hope FM, proud broadcast partners of Community Action Network, providing professional and practical support to the voluntary sector in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. See how CAN is helping communities flourish over at can100.org.
You know, it's never been easier to support Hope FM with easy fundraising. You can do it when you're ordering your shopping online, when you're switching your broadband provider, or upgrading your mobile phone. You can even do it when you're booking your next holiday. Easy fundraising partners with over 7,000 brands who will donate part of what you spend to a cause of your choice. And it won't cost you any extra. To find out just how easy it is to turn your online purchases into a donation for Hope FM, visit easyfundraising.org.uk/causes/Hope FM.
Do your work downloads take forever? Upgrade your internet to Juice Broadband Business and experience lightning fast speeds and packages to suit all budgets. With 5-star ratings, a team of real people who are here in Poole, and full fibre connectivity. See the amazing deals from Juice Broadband Business at juicebroadband.co.uk or call us on 01202 332 331.
Showcasing the best in music and the arts in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. This is Livewire Live, sponsored by Chaplins and the Cellar Bar.
wishes on pebbles